Hello from World University and School, growing from MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages with Wikipedia and in Wikidata in about 342 active languages for free online to students degrees at World University and School, a bachelor, PhD, law, medicine, IB high school, AAAS, 2-year undergraduate degree, and master's degrees, potentially in all 200 countries and in their main languages. And as World University and School seeks also to grow in all 7,159 known living languages as wiki schools, and to build communities of people among these speakers uh, in an online learning conversation where people can wiki teach and wiki learn, create a new wiki subject about a subject, an area, a field that they love and or know or want to learn more about, and in their language, and possibly academic or creative. If academic, is there any MIT OpenCourseWare in it, in that language, in that one of 7,159 known living languages? Um, Possibly, if such a person or such people, speakers of any particular language, want to create even a degree in their language, in one of 7,159 known living languages at World University and School, that might be possible too, with machine translation, machine learning, for example, of MIT OpenCourseWare, now in about 7 languages. And as World University and School also grows with a hashtag Grow with Google WUAS program, hashtags on Twitter, X, and LinkedIn. So, greetings on this Monday, January 19th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm developing this WUAS weekly business meeting, loosely conducted in the manner of Quakers. And we'll wait to see if people will join us today in this open Zoom conference call. From the agenda and news that I posted last Monday in both blogs, World University and School.blogspot.com and scott-mcleod.blogspot.com. The blog posts beginning with the Rogeveld Mountains, South Africa. So further, dear World University and School community, Universitians, Roland Vogel, director of Stanford Law Codex, and Peter Norvig, Google AI director, all. Greetings and Happy New Year from World University and School, building on CC4 licensed MIT OCW in 7 languages, from the opencw.aprende.org/courses/translated-courses URL. And also building on Wikipedia, Wikidata in 342 active languages. World University and School continue to plan online, free to students, bachelor, PhD, law, MD, IB high school or similar, AAAS, and master's degrees in each of all 200 countries and in their main languages. And as WUAS proceeds with accreditation, and in a Grow with Google WUAS program. World University and Schools WS next weekly business meeting is 8 days ahead from now, January 26th. But today's WS weekly business meeting again, open, is meeting at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Mexico City time, 11 a.m. Mountain time in the US, 1 p.m. Eastern time in the US and Canada, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and in Western Europe, 10:30 p.m. India time, and 1 p.m., 1 a.m. Tuesday, the next day, Hong Kong time. But please check your time converter from any of your 24 time zones to join this open WS Weekly Business Meeting with Zoom URL in the open WS Weekly Business Meeting agenda and news, and in the following WS blog posts. So the agenda for today is in the two blog posts beginning Roggeveld Mountains, from posted last Monday, January 12th, 2026. All the best, abolitionally, a best Steam Creative Commons license open courseware wiki at World Univ and SCH. Hashtag WUAS abolition movement is growing to protect people. And see the blog post in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from July of 2025, beginning Lotus Kamala Padma. And in WUS Seeking to Code for All 7.9 billion people on the planet and to end poverty worldwide. Friendly NTF, non-theist friend, NTQ, non-theist Quaker, Quaker greetings, yogically, Scott GK McCloud. And the recording of today's January 19th, 2026 WUS Weekly Business Meeting, WUS News and Question and Answer, using the blog post from January 12th, beginning Roggeveld Mountains. I'll post to the current active YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/@Scott McCloud World University /videos. So a little bit of a focus today on World Universities in a Grow with Google WUS program, and potentially joining with a hashtag Google for Education Roadmap WUAS project. So first wing of World University and School, the World University and School wing, the first of two WUS wings, a 501c3 or similar nonprofit. See the GuideStar listing for this, guidestar.com, guidestar.org/profile/27-3105368, which is a CC license, best Steam open courseware wiki, World University and School wing. And its main URL, beginning website, is worlduniversityandschool.org. Agenda item 0. Video minutes from the January 5th WS News and Question and Answer are posted. Check them out on the YouTube channel, and beginning with the Brooks Range, Alaska. In both blogs, worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Google for Education Roadmap, WUS. And further, agenda item 1, the incredible beginnings of professors George Church and David Sun Kong, who were teaching hashtag HTGAA 2025 of a hashtag aging reversal genetics course. HTGAA stands for How to Grow Almost Anything, a synthetic biology course, online, free, and open for registered Harvard and MIT students, and also committed listeners and global listeners from 2025. And I was a global listener in this course. And I asked Gemini AI about this and got an incredible reply. Read more about it in the blog post from December of 2025, beginning Canyons of Teton Range, Wyoming. So a Twitter X set of tweets about this. The incredible beginnings, Profs Geo Church at David Sun Kong, hashtag HTGAA 2025 of hashtag aging reversal genetics course with the Gemini AI reply. And the Canyons of the Teton Range, Wyoming blog post URL, which free at World Univ and SCH may offer. And potentially from the Aging Reversal Genetics Wiki School or Wiki subject at World University and School, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/aging reversal genetics in the future to hashtag WUaS matriculated students, hashtag WUaS genes. Posted this also to LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn URLs are there. Read the Gemini AI response about an aging reversal genetics course design. Agenda item 2, WUaS accreditation further with MISH, Middle States Commission on Higher Education, and possibly with hashtag Grow with Google WUaS help too. A new video from Middle States Commission on Higher Education, which is based in the greater Philadelphia, PA area, and which accredits universities in about 5 Middle Eastern seaboard US states, set of Twitter posts with this new hashtag MSCHE video, hashtag who we are MSCHE. Check out the video. And with free at World Univ and SCH, building on ocw.mit.edu, joining a hashtag Google for Education Roadmap WUaS program. WUaS has new hashtag WUaS accreditation potential with hashtag Google for Education to offer hashtag free WUaS degrees soonish, and then to offer free bachelor, PhD, law, MD, IB, AS, MS, Associate of Science, Masters of Science degrees from home in 200 countries and in their main languages. Read more about this in the blog post from January of 2026, beginning Hummingbird Hawk Moth in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from, again, January 2026. How might hashtag Grow with Google WUaS possibly help with this? Agenda item 3, set of Twitter posts. Meet Stanford's most influential AI figures of 2025. Could this be a response to at World University and School.blogspot.com's WUaS weekly business meeting, and regarding beginning with the Laramie Mountains, Wyoming, from January 5th, 2026, in open weekly business meeting. Hashtag Peter Norvig, hashtag Google AI Director, hashtag Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO. How best? So Jensen Huang is one of the people mentioned as this Stanford's most influential AI figures of 2025, as well as hashtag Yijin Choi, and who is also developing hashtag adaptable models for molecular discovery, according to the Stanford article. And with Jensen Huang, 92, from Stanford, graduated advanced chips. So the article's interesting. And is it a response to World University and Schools weekly business meeting from January 5th, 2026? Check out the Stanford Daily article and regarding Yijin Choi and possibly adaptable models for molecular discovery. And could this be also for a realistic virtual Earth for molecules? And think Google Street View with time slider at the G molecule level. And regarding also Jensen Huang, 92, advanced chips at NVIDIA, and beginning to develop further a realistic virtual Earth for potentially molecules, for genetics, for aging reversal, and extreme longevity as well. Possibly it is a response to that blog post. So read again more about it in the blog post that begins Hummingbird Hawk Moth from January 2026 in my blog. Agenda item 4, how best to add all the 200 countries' main and official languages, Wikipedias, in those languages from this Wikimedia URL, meta.wikimedia.org/wiki list of Wikipedias, to their WUaS World University and School Nation States and Languages wiki pages. For example, how to add the Tamil language, Wikipedia in Tamil, to India World University and School in Tamil, and the Tamil language WS planned in Tamil, and World University and School is beginning Tamil language. Wiki school or wiki subject is wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki Tamil_language, not yet in the Tamil language. Could World University and School interoperating with Wikimedia, Meta Wikimedia, grow all our 200 countries and in their main and official languages, major world-class universities as wikis using the WS Miraheza Media Wiki with this list of Wikipedias potentially in those languages. Exciting possibility. We could create these wiki schools almost immediately as we proceed with this at World University and School, WS Miraheza Media Wiki. This is something that I think we got WS Miraheza Media Wiki in around 2013, 2015, and we've been in English only so far. How to grow in the 200 countries and in their main languages, and interoperating with meta.wikimedia.org potentially for a list of Wikipedias in those languages. Agenda item 5, a realistic virtual Earth for scientific inquiry, a realistic virtual Earth for memory, and regarding #WUaS genetics and #brain science. How will this work? And regarding Gemini AI Ray germline. So can and in what ways could World University and School code a realistic virtual Earth for scientific inquiry, for memory, for genetics, such that we could possible digital twins and avatar agent electronic health records model and create the possibility to pass on certain traits through our germlines as we have offspring, for example, potentially by editing our germlines. So the trait for memory, certain genes, for example, how to begin to model this on the virtual side, how to begin to develop a realistic virtual Earth for germline reproduction of specific traits, even through our offspring and then through their offspring, and having asked this of Gemini AI and gotten a great response, a hashtag realistic virtual earth for scientific, so a set of Twitter posts in these regards. Hashtag realistic virtual earth for scientific inquiry, so we can study this. Think hashtag G Street View, with hashtag G Time Slider, G Cell, hashtag G Molecule, hashtag G Atom, hashtag G Qubit Views, in hashtag realistic virtual earth for STEM, and a hashtag realistic virtual earth for memory, Ray, hashtag WUaS genetics, and hashtag brain science. How will this work? And regarding hashtag Gemini AI, Ray germline. So I searched on this in Google AI and got a great reply. The URL is g.co/Gemini/share/DFE17DC546E1. And Gemini AI says, creating a realistic virtual Earth, RVE, for scientific inquiry, spanning from the planetary scale down to the subatomic G atom, G qubit levels, is a concept moving from science fiction toward active supercomputing projects. By 2025, several digital twins, quote unquote, of Earth have already begun to integrate these scales. One, how the multi-scale virtual Earth will work. The, quote, realistic virtual Earth, end quote, operates as a federated system of nested simulations. No single computer can simulate the whole Earth at the atomic scale simultaneously. Instead, the RVE uses multi-scale modeling, where different regions are rendered at different levels of fidelity based on the user's focus. And Gemini AI goes on. Read more about this. Incredible. In the blog post beginning Gastrodia, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from November 2025, Gastrodia. 5A, further in these regards, with another Gemini AI reply. Agenda item 6. So Google buys a data center company for $4.75 billion, Sundar Pichai posts on Twitter. The deal for Intersect, a data center and energy developer, and a New York Times article in these regards from December of 2025. How best could this new hashtag grow Google data center, hashtag Google data center, grow a hashtag realistic virtual Earth, hashtag realistic virtual Earth for genetics? And with G Street View, with hashtag G Time Slider, G Maps. And see the blog post further about this from December of 2025 in my blog, beginning Blue Spruce. Agenda item 7. Wow, next steps of a hashtag realistic virtual Earth are here. Can one get to a kind of hashtag realistic virtual Earth for history in hashtag Google Earth with its city views? And how does that work? Yes, in pro version, and not yet for hashtag ethno-wiki virtual world graphy, e.g. regarding at Harbin book, where in ethno-wiki virtual world graphy, we can all add resources, wiki add resources, for example, ethnographically or social science-wise or science-wise, to a virtual world, a virtual Earth. And I asked this, and I just read a Twitter post of Gemini AI and got another incredible reply. Read more about it in the blog post from December of 2025, beginning Blue Spruce in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 8, Thursday, December 25th, 2025. Blog post beginning Nalumbo Lutie, American Lotus, open free restorative yoga class on Saturdays. And as we may live to 150 and well beyond, 12, 25, 25. And another blog post beginning Nymphia Lotus, open restorative yoga class on Saturdays. And as we may live to 150 and well beyond, posted on 12, 27, 25. Check out these videos and these beginning conversations also about extreme longevity genetics and yoga, seeking to facilitate yoga approaches to exploring yoga on our own from home here, with interactive online classes emerging. In these yoga asana and as kinds of yoga meditation, release your eyes and ears inwards, as if they were traveling inwardly on a deflating balloon with your inhales, to explore withdrawing your senses inwardly. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, is the Sanskrit word, pratyahara, and to explore the inner body, where these inner releasing actions in these yoga asana meditations can be wondrous and wonderful. Would love to be able to guide you into this further. In the meanwhile, see ARC, steps to elicit the relaxation response, steps to elicit the relaxation response. From my blog from September of 2008, so about 17 years ago, in a blog post that begins ARC, steps to elicit the relaxation response. Scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, 2008, 09/ARC, steps to elicit relaxation response. And I'm enough of a biology thinking yogi and non-theistic friendly Quaker to continue to envision and see and to wait and seek to discern and yogically think and Quakerly think in terms of extreme longevity genetics and aging reversal genetics from these yoga thinkings. And yoga has a focus on seeing too, or observing as well. So how best to, for example, explore yoga meditation on the IF1 protein, which George Church tweeted here back in November of 2025, where the IF1 protein may control aging and is located in the mitochondrial complex. This IF1 protein may be one gene or protein or molecule that controls aging. IF1 ATP ASE inhibitory factor 1 is a protein that is encoded by a specific gene, often referred to as the ATPSIF1 gene in mammals. And regarding a yoga conversation about genetics and observations, seeing and discerning further, and yogic thinking experiments, and the science of this, and as we may live to 150 and well beyond, and extreme longevity and aging reversal genetics, please consider applying for and taking this MIT and Harvard and open class in these regards. How to grow almost anything, synthetic biology class, as a global or committed listener. So HTGAA 2026, where David Sun Kong, PhD in the MIT Media Lab, is the professor, is beginning soon. And on January 5th, he tweets, "I'm excited to announce that the application for the 2026 edition of our Media Lab and Global Synthetic Biology course, How to Grow Almost Anything, is now open," with the application link in this thread that he tweeted. And he also tweeted this on LinkedIn. So I think this begins today, possibly, with a boot camp and in which George Church, also the Harvard and MIT professor of genetics in the Harvard Medical School, is a professor, and where I was a global listener in this course in 2025. And I've created a blog label in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/search/label/HTGAA regarding this course last year, and potentially will do further this year in 2026. And I'm seeking to be a global listener again. And in seeking also to grow further a hashtag realistic virtual earth, hashtag for genetics, hashtag for aging reversal, hashtag for extreme longevity, hashtag for yoga, hashtag for yoga asana. So hashtag realistic virtual earth for yoga, hashtag realistic virtual earth for yoga asana, and hashtag for everything. And at best STEAM CC licensed open courseware, Wiki, World, University, and School. And potentially also an aging reversal genetics course along the lines of an MIT OpenCourseware course. So happy yoga, meditation, explorations, namaste, yoga glee, and happy new year. And may blog and tweet X about this email and this above agenda item 8 in my blog in the yoga label. Agenda item 9. Moving forward, the WUaS Academic Medical Center and myself into a newly safe, vacant, with deed, 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon 94516. Thoughts? Byron, U.S. Senator and former Harvard Law professor Elizabeth Warren, Peter Norvig, Google AI Director, reiterating Google IT, and regarding law enforcement AI, and information technology too. Byron Hahn, MD, PhD in Moraga, nearby to Canyon, 94516, and friend from Reed College since around 1979. Ed Smythe, MD, Kaiser Permanente in the state of California, I think, in Berkeley, and friend since the early 90s, late 80s. And Pin, Sid Mazumdar, HHS, Health and Human Services in the U.S. federal government in the greater D.C. area, and friends since high school in the second half of the 1970s. All. This is dated December 26, 2025, when I was back east visiting my mother in late December for celebrations then. I'm driving west to the San Francisco Bay Area tomorrow, Friday, December 27th, 2025, and seeking to arrive on Thursday, January 1st, 2026, after teaching an open yoga class online at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Will I be able to move forward the WUaS Academic Medical Center and myself into a newly safe, vacant, and with deed, 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon 94516? Thanks. Thanks so much for precipitating this, Ed, beginning in March of 2022, I think. And read more about this in the blog post from November of 2025 in scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, beginning Gastrodia. Agenda item 10. Some recent Gemini AI conversations regarding genetics, aging reversal, extreme longevity, and yoga, asana and 8 limbs yoga, and a realistic virtual earth. Check out their replies. I'll read some of the questions I asked. How best to create a first aging reversal genetics course along the lines of MIT OpenCourseware, where George Church, for example, might even teach, in which George Church might even teach how to structure the syllabus, and in a realistic virtual earth for genetics and a realistic virtual earth for aging reversal, especially. Secondly, hey Google, how would extreme longevity genetic drugs and aging reversal genetic drugs for higher, faster, stronger, more suppleness, both with yoga asana as well as in the Olympics and other sports, for example, interoperate with 8-limb yoga and particularly yoga asana poses? Thirdly, how would a single shot vaccine for extreme longevity work, possibly with yoga?
Genetic drug research is entering human clinical trials in 2026, focusing on epigenetic reprogramming and follistatin gene therapy to enhance muscle mass and suppleness. Companies like Life Biosciences and BioViva are pioneering treatments that use Yamanaka factors to reset cellular ages, which may drastically improve the physical capacity required for Olympic sports and advanced yoga asana. Longevity and performance integration. Genetic synergy. Follistatin gene therapy has shown potential to increase lean muscle and reduce fat, directly supporting the faster, stronger goals of the Olympics. Yoga and DNA. Modern research confirms that yoga asana and the 8 limbs, Ashtanga, already downregulate inflammatory genes and upregulate SIRT1, the anti-aging gene, providing a natural foundation for synthetic genetic enhancements. Suppleness. Epigenetic shifts can restore tissue elasticity, making complex poses like Hanumanasana or deep backbends more accessible by reversing age-related collagen stiffening. Caution: most of these therapies are currently experimental or considered gene doping by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. Would you like me to find specific yoga sequences that maximize these longevity-linked gene expressions?
So I was saying, hey, Google, in some of these questions, and Gemini AI replied on my smartphone, since my smartphone heard the hey Google or the okay Google and then replied. Incredible. So I just shared what Gemini AI said, responded to in regards to one of these questions in this video. Check it out in the recording. So another question I asked Gemini AI in these regards, and with yoga in mind, for aging reversal, for extreme longevity, genetic drug therapies emerging FDA approved, how in particular to develop a realistic virtual earth for vaccines with our avatar agent electronic health records, and thinking Google Street View with time sliders at the G cell view and G molecule view levels in G maps, and got another incredible Gemini AI reply. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Passiflora Cacao, Incredible Beginnings, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from December of 2025. And also in the blog post beginning Wind River Range, Wyoming, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, in December of 2025. Agenda item 11. How best at World University and School to, or in regards to hashtag revolutionizing education with hashtag machine learning and AI, World University in School, and see the Toolify AI article. So how best to revolutionize education with machine learning at World University in School? See the article with ocw.mit.edu and the translated courses at from MIT OpenCourseWare at opencw.apprende.org translated courses, and from home, and with a hashtag realistic virtual earth for scientific inquiry in all 200 countries and in their main languages. So created just a single Twitter post on World University and School for this. Read more about it in the blog post from December of 2025, beginning Meads, Milkweed, Asclepius, Medii, from scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 12. This is to Quaker I met at Olney Friends School, about an hour and a half west of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as I was driving west from Pittsburgh just after Christmas to the San Francisco Bay Area. And regarding Olney Friends School, of which he's an alumni, Bob Brockwell is his name. Olney Friends School, I think, begins in the 1830s. Dear Bob Brockwell, and main office at onlyfriends.org. Olney Friends School, a Quaker boarding school in Barnesville, Ohio, and their website is onlyfriends.org. Dear Bob Brockwell, class of 56. And so that might put him in his 80s, and main office at onlyfriends.org. Friendly greetings Very nice to meet you, Bob, at Only Friends School since 1837 on Saturday, December 27th, 2025. And glad to share with you, too, about friendly informed wiki for people-to-people idea sharing, World University and School, like Wikipedia in 342 languages and building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages. While WUaS isn't yet accredited for free online WUaS degrees, bachelor, PhD, law, MD, IB, high school, similar AAAS, and master's degrees are planned, and in all 200 countries in 7,159 known living languages. If helpful, I hope free to students MIT OpenCourseWare centric World University and School in a hashtag Grow with Google WUS program will be of help to Only Friends School and students, and regarding college counselors, and for all friends schools. For example, from here at the College at World University and School, accessible from the Wiki Subjects page, and C2 also the Quakers Religious Society of Friends Wiki Subject page at World University and School, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki Quakers-World Religious Society of Friends. More later, and we'll add you to the open WUS weekly business meeting emailings. Friendly regards, Scott GK McLeod. I became a member of the RSOF, Religious Society of Friends, in central Edinburgh, Quaker meeting in around 2004 when I was studying there for a second full year in Scotland. And read more about this in the blog post from December of 2025, beginning Western Prairie Fringed Orchid in my blog, scott-mcleod.blogspot.com. 12A, a blog post in these regards. A Twitter post, a Twitter X post. Glad to visit hashtag Quaker, hashtag Only Friends School in Barnesville, Ohio, hashtag Barnesville OH on Saturday, 12/27/25 in returning to hashtag Canyon 94516 to grow the hashtag WUAS Academic Medical Center there. How might hashtag free to students at World Univ and SCH be of help to hashtag Only Friends alumni? And from, for example, the college at World University and School or in it. And regarding hashtag friendly Quaker WUAS. Posted that to LinkedIn as well, and read more about it again in the blog post beginning Western Prairie Fringed Orchid from December of 2025. Agenda item 13. A single neuron to fire, to stimulate a memory, to remember an item. If it takes only a hashtag single neuron to fire, to hashtag stimulate a memory, to remember an item, how with hashtag genetic drug therapies emerging will this work? Especially hashtag aging reversal and hashtag extreme longevity, hashtag gene drugs. And for example, e.g. regarding hashtag family history from hashtag family reunions. And I asked this of Gemini AI and got 2 great replies. I learned about that it takes only a single neuron to fire to stimulate a memory. I think back in the 1980s from George L. Alexander, MD, a psychoanalytic psychiatrist, a Lacanian psychiatrist, who I think had seen this or did related experiments possibly at Yale University as an undergrad in studying memory. Fascinating that it takes only a single neuron to stimulate a memory to remember an item. Could we develop genetic drug therapies for this to affect our memory, to allow us to remember things in new ways? And even as we possibly grow to live beyond 122 years of age with extreme longevity genetic drugs and possibly complementary aging reversal genetic drug therapies. So Gemini AI replied, creating a realistic virtual Earth for scientific inquiry, spanning the planetary scale down to the subatomic, is a concept moving from hang on one second. Science fiction toward active computing projects. By 2025, several digital twins of Earth have already emerged. And it also replied, Gemini AI, and this is the more relevant response: memory, neurons, and future therapies, which Gemini AI URL or website address is gemini.google.com/share/B144B64D2, I think CF2. And you can read more about this in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/2025/12/Bighorn Mountains, Wyoming. Agenda item 14. I would love to be heading into a realistic virtual Harbin, or to actual Harbin hot springs, or to virtual #Hogmanay in Scotland, New Year's Eve, this 12/31/25 / or #Happy New Year. So this is further regarding developing a realistic virtual Harbin hot springs and a realistic virtual Scotland, potentially to even go to New Year's Eve, Hogmanay in Scotland. A set of Twitter posts in these regards. Would love to be heading into #realistic virtual Harbin / #hot springs, also for #STEM fieldwork, WUaS research in a #realistic virtual Earth. And thanks Peter Norvig for this incredible #Tulify AI WUaS article, for mentioning a realistic virtual Harbin and to study bliss in a virtual Harbin, or to #Hogmanay in Scotland, this 12/31/25, #Happy New Year. Read further about this in the blog post beginning Tetanurus herbaceae eastern forenerved in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from January of 2026. Agenda item 15. Smita Krishnaswamy, who is a Yale University computer science and genetics professor. How best at Smita Krishnaswamy, whose URL, whose Yale University medicine page is medicine.yale.edu/profile/Smita-Krishnaswamy. How best Smita Krishnaswamy at Krishnaswamy Lab at GeoChurch, and regarding George Church's 60 minutes video from 2019 on aging reversal, interview with Scott Pelley. How best to develop a #realistic virtual Earth for genetics, #for aging reversal, #for extreme longevity, and regarding #G Street View with G time slider, #G cell view, G molecule view, #AlphaFold server with #G Pegman, and #avatar agent electronic health records. So I posted this both to Twitter X and to LinkedIn, and it's in this blog post beginning Tetanurus herbaceae eastern forenerved flower, I think, in a January 2026 blog post in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 16. How could an iterating #realistic virtual Earth for World Univ and SCH inform big structural change coding, and regarding 200 #WUS universe and UNIVS, #WUS UNIVS on Twitter X and LinkedIn, and Peter Norvig's incredible Tulify AI WUS Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI article with structural, regarding big structural change, with structural, a social science word. It's an economics word too. How could an iterating realistic virtual Earth at World Univ and SCH inform big structural code changing and regarding 200 world university and schools with structural, a social science word? And this retweets a Twitter post by Elizabeth Warren, the US Senator from Massachusetts and a former Harvard law professor, who writes, as I look ahead to 2026, I still believe in an America that works for all of us. We can create a vision of big structural change that will charge us forward. Democrats must continue to articulate our values and fight like hell for them, even if it bothers billionaires. Posted on January 2nd, 2026. Read more about this in blog post beginning Northern monkshood aconitum species in my blog from January of 2026. So how will the creation of a realistic virtual Earth in Google Street View with time slider at the cell view, molecule view level also be structural change? A realistic virtual Earth for economics, a realistic virtual Earth for cryptocurrency, a realistic virtual Earth for retail, a realistic virtual Earth for everything. Again, read more about this in Northern monkshood aconitum species. Agenda item 17. There are a number of agenda items that I've blogged about since around the last week of December, which is leading to this WS News and Question and Answer weekly business meeting having a lot of agenda items. Agenda item 17. Iran World University and School board members, and in collaboration with Stanford Iranian Studies, I just went to a memorial for Bahram Bezier near Stanford at Skylon and met a number of people. Abbas Milani was there and was talking to them about also Iran World University and School, and shared this with Mehdi Puya Hassare, Shahrazad Shirvani, a friend of mine from UC Berkeley and tourism studies, Abbas Milani, the director of Stanford Iranian Studies, and all. Great to meet and talk with you at Bahram Bezier's commemoration at Skylon. My condolences to the immense circle of family and friends of Bahram Bezier. More about the beginnings of Best STEM CC licensed open courseware wiki Iran World University and School here at Iran wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki Iran Islamic Republic of. Planned in Persian, Farsi, and building from MIT OpenCourseWare in Persian, which already exists in Persian. Check out the Persian language MIT OpenCourseWare. And from Persian language World University and School, again, planned in Persian. And please see the incredible Toolify AI WUS article from Peter Norvig. Mehdi, Puya, all, would you like to join the Iran World University and School Board and grow this further in communication with Stanford Iranian Studies? Best regards, Scott G.K. McLeod. Read more about this further in Northern monkshood aconitum species of flower in my blog from January 2026, scott-mcleod.blogspot.com. Agenda item 18. Am liking the hashtag hippie history around hashtag mountain theater on hashtag Mount Tamalpais, and regarding also the first paragraph in my hashtag Happy New Year 2026 letter. Set of Twitter posts about this, liking hashtag hippie history around hashtag mountain theater on hashtag Mount Tamalpais regarding the first paragraph in Happy New Year 2026 letter in the blog post from January 1st, 2026, beginning Mount Tamalpais in my blog, Scott-McCloud, and regarding hashtag history and culture, and regarding hashtag counterculture WUAS, how they interweave in experiential ways. How can we hashtag WikiAd, hashtag history WUAS, such as that of Mountain Theater from the 60s and 70s, to a realistic virtual Earth for history? This potentially dovetails with my Harbin Hot Springs physical digital realistic virtual Harbin research as well, regarding my first book published in 2016, Naked Harbin Ethnography, and planned seventh book, Harbin Ethnographic Book Project, created with the creation of virtual Harbin Hot Springs. And also posted Allman Brothers Band picture. There's also a YouTube video of the Allman Brothers playing, where they released their debut album November 4th, 1969. They didn't play in Mountain Theater, but the Grateful Dead did play in Mountain Theater in 1966. And see the blog post beginning Protea cinearoides from January of 2026 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 19. How best to develop a hashtag realistic virtual Earth for longevity, hashtag G Street View with hashtag G Time Slider, and with a hashtag physical digital, physical going one way and digital going the other way, a conversation, hashtag avatar agent electronic health records with our body minds, as hashtag digital twins, with potentially hashtag KP NorCal, Kaiser Permanente NorCal. And regarding data sets, hashtag data sets, and potentially WUS vaccines in hashtag Canyon 94516 shop. Said a Twitter post about this. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Brunsvigia bosmanii. Agenda item 20. A realistic virtual Earth for mutations. I said a Twitter post about this. Hashtag RVE for mutations interoperable with our avatar agent electronic health records, as hashtag WUAS digital twins, as hashtag RVE for extreme longevity, hashtag RVE for aging reversal research. See the incredible Peter Norvig article Tulify AIWS regarding a realistic virtual Earth, and regarding also at GeoChurch at hashtag HTGAA 2025, and in a WUS multimedia hospital room, potentially in a emerging ginormous smart TV screen that could become that are being developed by Dell Computer for ginormous financial data sets. And there's going to be a need for screens and similar in developing a realistic, a smart meeting room that we can view all around us, and also with smart TVs on all 6 sides of the room, potentially, that also project into the middle of the room for an n-dimensional experience. There's going to be a great need for developing screens that can project more and more information and data from data sets, potentially for mutations as well, that interoperate with our avatar agent electronic health records. There's an Engadget article about how Dell unveils a massive 52-inch 6K ultra-wide monitor at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas from 2026 in these regards. See more about this in the blog post beginning Swiss National Park UNESCO Biosphere in my blog from January of 2026. Agenda item 21. Marc Dupuy, friend from Switzerland, an immunologist, friend from the University of California, San Francisco from the second half of the 1990s. We've been in touch, and he, in a recent New Year's correspondence, as I was continuing to write about how best World University and School can grow an abolition movement and to knock back even international organized crime, regarding also a murderous run-through attempt of me, sadly, in April, I think, of 2023 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in my first asylum house by a craven psychopath, Frederick Kayat, a CMU undergrad at the time, possibly a Swiss or Lebanese soldier, and who may have been, as a possible Swiss soldier from French Switzerland. He spent 2 years at EPFL, part of international organized crime out of Switzerland in cahoots with the Swiss uniformed services. Mark, living in French-speaking Switzerland, potentially could have some insight into possibly uniformed armed services processes there in these regards. And in our correspondence, he wrote to me as I described these situations to him, "You got it right, Scott. I'll be knocked back. I'm seeking to knock back international organized crime out of Switzerland operating in the US, for example." Mark continues, "Love the idea of the virtual Harbin tubs." And the correspondence is somewhat long, but I read more about it in the blog post beginning Swiss National Park UNESCO Biosphere in January of 2026 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. So moving on to agenda item 22. So Don Knuth, computer science professor at Stanford, and also who I think who's 88 years old and lived through the 60s and 70s, I think, at Stanford in part. Also a Lutheran, and also who knows, I think, Stanford hippie culture. In one talk I attended of his at Stanford, he sat at a desk alone at the front of a lecture hall and just looked at his computer for about 20 minutes in silence, as if to model computer programming and debugging, and that process. Very informative. And I had gone to history of computer science at Stanford University, computer science department at Stanford University, and he was there, and he signed my Harbin Hot Springs bookmark back in 2017. So blog post beginning hippie astrum, Don Knuth, very grateful for the Stanford professor emeritus computer science, Don Knuth, for signing of my #naked Harbin ethnographies at Harbin book, beautiful bookmark. The talk where he signed this was called Creating World-Class Computer Science at Stanford, 60 Years of Innovation, Wednesday, March 15th, 2017, 5 p.m. in the CMEX Auditorium Night Management Center, sponsored by the Stanford Historical Society. The video is still up. Check it out. Could Don Knuth help further create a realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs in Google Street View with Time Slider? and iterating realistic virtual Earth, and for soaking in from home. I'm not sure if he's visited Harbin or not. He might well have. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Hippiastrum from my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from 2026. Agenda item 23, a church for hashtag studying bliss and eliciting loving bliss neurophysiology. A set of blog posts, a set of Twitter posts about this. A church, virtual Heart Springs Heart Consciousness Church at Harbin Hot Springs, at Harbin Book, hashtag realistic virtual Harbin for hashtag soaking meditation from hashtag home bathtubs and part of at World Unit and SCH, building on hashtag MIT OCW, ocw.mit.edu, URL in 7 languages for hashtag studying bliss, and see Peter Norvig's incredible article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, where he mentions studying bliss in a virtual Harbin. Seeking to develop research methodologies for studying bliss from home, further in a realistic virtual Harbin in some of these regards. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Protea Repens in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from January of 2026. So we're an hour and 7 minutes into this WS News and Question and Answer, WS Weekly Business Meeting. And I just want to switch in the remaining few minutes to the other wing of World University and School, the WS Corporation, the second of 2 WS wings, a for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, and also an academic press planned in 7,159 known living languages, and with WS educational services stores for books, computers, robotics, groceries, hospital technologies, think Walmart product line potentially, and with a partnering email from Stanford MindPi CryptoCurts as we seek to code for potentially most or all of 7.9 billion people on the planet. Agenda item A, excited at WS Educational Services stores in exploring partnering with Walmart which is in about 19 out of 200 countries, with this incredible Gemini AI idea and response regarding store within a store models. And see agenda item A in the blog post on both blogs beginning Laramie Mountains, Wyoming. So section 2 from this Gemini AI response, 2, the store model, hashtag physical digital, hashtag brick and mortar. The WS stores serve as more than just retail outlets. They are learning hubs that compete by offering what Amazon cannot, physical community and immediate academic validation. Walmart partnership, the 19 out of 200 start. By starting in the 19 countries where Walmart has a presence, e.g. USA, Mexico, Canada, India, WUaS can utilize Walmart's existing supply chain and store within a store models. And see agenda item A further in the Laramie Mountains, Wyoming blog post in worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com's blogs. Agenda item B. So grow first hashtag WS Educational Services store at WS Press in recently closed Walmart in Pittsburgh, PA. No, it's already been occupied. I learned over the holidays at the end of December. But in other Walmart WS partnering stores, in growing hashtag WS Home Robotics for hashtag robotics engineering tracks for free hashtag MIT OCW centric hashtag WS STEM degrees at WS Press. Glad to have heard from hashtag Lego Education in a text message or similar. While I was in the Walmart Pittsburgh, PA, some 5-7 years ago. Read more about this in the blog post Beginning Gastrodia, in my blog from November of 2025, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. I think further the idea with a store within a store model of a World University and School bookstore with computer store, robotics store in a Walmart, possibly as a multimedia room, but also potentially as a source for Lego Spike Prime robotics kits that World University and School, the WS stores are authorized to carry, where Walmart does not carry Lego Spike Prime robotics kits, would be a great fit in these regards for this store within a store model with World University and School stores and name within Walmart stores in 200 countries. So agenda item C, how many countries is Walmart in? How could the WS Corporation partner with Walmart from December 29, 2025? 19 out of 20 out of 200. See the blog post Beginning Western-Prairie Fringed Orchid from December 2025 in my blog, and some great Gemini AI replies. So agenda item D, how best to potentially grow a WS Educational Services store in French-speaking Switzerland, in possibly Lausanne, Switzerland, or Geneva, Switzerland. And I asked Marc Dupuis, who's lives in French-speaking Switzerland in these regards, and haven't heard back from him. But Walmart is not in Europe, interestingly. Could World University and School, as being Quaker informed, for one, potentially grow in Western Europe, for example, with our WS Educational Services stores, and for our free MIT OpenCourseWare centric degrees from home? That would be fantastic. Could we start in French-speaking Switzerland, where Switzerland has 4 official languages, French, German, Italian, and a small regional language, Romansh? Might be possible. Agenda item E. I won't read this last agenda item E, which I just added this morning, from January 19th, 2026 to this agenda from January 12th, 2026. I've also added agenda item E to next week, January 26th, 2026 blog with agenda and news regarding Spanish World University and School and the WS Educational Services stores in Spain, also where Walmart doesn't have a presence in Europe, so Spain might be interesting, and where Juan Mendez has been on the board of World University and School. So check agenda item E out in the blog posts for next January 26, 2026, January 26, 2026, WS Weekly Business Meeting, WUaS News and Question and Answer, beginning Livingston Range Glacier National Park, which is already posted today, Monday, January 19th, 2026. So I'll post the recording of today's WS News and Question and Answer to the current active main YouTube channel, youtube.com/Scott McCloud World University /videos, as well as to the 2 main Twitter feeds, twitter.com/World Univ and SCH, and twitter.com/WUaS Press, as well as to the 2 blog posts for today, January 19th, and for last week, January 12th. And see you next week, and looking forward to further communication in the interim. If you have questions or know of students who are interested in World University in School, free WUaS degrees online from home, building on MIT OpenCourseWare, email me at president@worlduniversityinschool.org. Till next time, bye for now.